to the song help. There you can learn all tutorials. There are a lot of tutorials like HTML and others. So you can go and learn HTMLs. What are the elements, attributes you will be having, and then how it looks like. This formatting, comments, buttons, put type. There is lightning input type equals to button, checkbox, color, date. These are tags are used in the Aura components and the LWC components as well. Okay, but the format will be different format. Okay. So when you use input attributes, these are called attributes. Means type, ID, name, value. These are all called as attributes. You can see a lot of attributes for each and every like this. Okay. That is button. HTML events. See here, we have HTML events. These are very much important. Okay, so mostly what we'll be using is click on load form events. Yeah, so these are the most possible events what we are going to use only, like lightning Aura components and lightning web components, on blur, on change, on context menu, on focus, on input, on rest. Keyboard events are like on key down, on key press, on key up. So these are the mouse events. On click, on double click, on mouse down, on mouse move. So these are all the keyboard and mouse events where we can use. Yesterday we have seen this on button, right? Let's open the lightning component. Addition component. Okay. In this addition component, we have used lightning button. Okay. This lightning button, you see this on click. We have used on click. This is an event. What is an event? For this element, if we try to do something like click or double click or mouse over means when you drag the mouse on this button, that's called mouse over. Then a lot of other functions like mouse move, on mouse out, on mouse over, on mouse up, on wheel. So these are all called as mouse events. And then you see this when you click, just type some keyboard values. Like if you press A, that's called as on key press. When you release the key, means when you press it and release it, then key is down. On key up when you release the key, and then when you're pressing the key, and twice when the user presses a key. Okay, so you have to learn all these events because all these events will be keep using the lightning Aura components and web components as well. Okay, on also on the what are the functions or what are the events we have. Okay, so see clipboard events. When you press Control C for copying any content, it will be file. On cut, Control X. On paste, Control V. Okay, so when you do this will be happen. It is on about on can play. These are called the media events. Means when you want to play something audio or video, something. Then these events can be changed. These events can be used. So this, okay. not much important, but you have to learn what are the most possible events we will be having on the HTML elements. Okay, that would be better. If you want to learn, you can learn, but I don't think you will best practice. Okay, so this is one. Okay, next, let's see some attributes you are doing in this one. Today, we will see some other examples. Our intention is we have to use events, Salesforce standard events. So we have two types of events in the Salesforce Aura components. One is application events. Second one is component events. Two types of events, application events and component events. So we will see these component events and application events later, but Salesforce is providing, our framework is providing some kind of events by default. Okay? Default events like init, change, or rendering, waiting, done waiting. I will show you where you have to read that, done waiting, and then some change. So there are some kind of events we have in the Salesforce. How to use that we will see this. Okay. Now, let's see here. Yesterday, what we did is is the tab we have created addition, right? So this thing, what we did, if we add some value 70 or let's say, then you have to click add. Okay, so when you click on add, then only this is getting calculated, right? So instead of that, there is ways like when you change the value, like on change, you can have one function change. This is JavaScript function. Okay, these are JavaScript events, and this is the JavaScript function which will be called when the value is changed. See, it does the addition always. Okay, see, refresh. Until unless it's not connected controller. So there are some events called change event. Let's see what is this here. You guys are saying something. That is fine, man. It's not required. We are talking about events, right? Let's use that one. So, events, what we need to do is Aura. These are all called Aura events. Aura handler. Okay. Aura handler. Name equals to change. Okay. Name equals to change means so every event should be used in this way only. Aura handler, then name what type of event. It may be the change event or init event or some other event, whatever it is. We have init change, rendering, waiting, turn waiting, and some other also. Okay, so that name you have to use. Then value equals to which value you need to monitor when you use v dot one. Okay, action means which action you have to perform. Say this is the action you need to perform. Means when number one is changed, I need to perform the action. Let's go ahead and check this. See here, this is getting changed. This is event means when you want to use, see mostly you have to use events only, but when you want to have this on click or on blur or on change, whatever the event you have to use, you can use this later. Okay. So now this is for number one, and next one is number two. Okay. Then here, this button itself is not required, right? So when you want to hide something, go ahead and do something. So this is how it works on change. When the value is changed, then this events will be what I mean. This is everywhere. So handler syntax will be Aura handler, name of the event, value, which value you want to monitor. Means when you give it change as the event, then whatever the value you have given, the variable name or let's say attribute name, whatever you have given, this will be keep on monitoring. Okay, this will be monitored, and when your value is changed on this variable, then immediately this action will be fired. Okay, this JavaScript function will be called, and that's how we have to use the change action or change event. Okay, so now let's see our events. What are the different events you have? This is Aura component library. As you're working on Aura components, you will see this. What are the component events we have? See, these are the components you can use. Components is nothing but tags. Which tag it is? lightning input tag, lightning formatted number. All these are called as the components. Each and everything is called as components. Okay. So here, these are the components, and we have events. So there are a lot of events, lightning events. See here, if you see tab closed, tab created, these are called console applications. I mean console events. I'll explain later. It's not much required, but these are the mostly we will be using Aura events, and then force events. Okay, then post chatter events, lightning. There's only one thing is there. UI events, select, say here. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the first, is Aura events. Okay, see, first one, we just used this value change. Means when your value is changed, Aura handler change. If you read it, this event is fired when an attribute value changes. Means this is the attribute. Number one is one attribute. Number two is another attribute. In the lightning component, when you change the value of the attribute, then immediately this change event is fired and it is performing some action. Okay, you know that inside the JavaScript function or a JavaScript controller, we have a function, and that function is performing the addition of two numbers. Okay, so this is how you have to use these events. You have to remember all these events. Okay, now let's see the second one. You can see just have one value destroy. Okay, so destroy event when it will be given. Okay, so let's have the same event. Okay, I'm using destroy. Means when your values change, this is performing this action, right? I'm going to add some different function like comma separated function name. So this is the just JavaScript functionality, how it works. So on destroy, I'm giving the simple function name. Then there is no change, and you don't need to worry about. Just copy this one component event helper. Okay, not giving anything, just using alert. Alert means it just open a pop-up and uh, value destroyed. Okay, now here should have this function destroy, just calling this one. Now just open the Lightning component tab. It's destroyed. If you need to system cleanup when component is destroyed. Okay, so there is one more event called destroy. Okay, that one it will be fired. Okay, I'll explain this later on this. Okay, first we will see value init and the some other thing called let's create one small component to call apex method from this one. So my requirement is to design one small functionality like on screen to search one value. Let's say we have students, right? Students, let's search for student name or email and get their details into this one. First, we will see simply uh, how to pass the parameters to the Apex controller from the Lightning component, then how to get the response on this. Okay, for that, let's design same way here addition of two numbers for the Apex controller. First, I'm going to create an Apex class. Okay, very simple, like addition controller. Addition controller. Okay, once you create the addition controller, you need to create one method called public. It should be public and static. It should be public and static. Then return type should be anything, maybe void or whatever you want to return, that you can return through this one. So let's say as you are performing addition, use this. Just add two numbers. Okay, integer a, integer b. This is you have already done this. Okay, return a plus b. Very simple logic. What we are trying to do is we are trying to perform two addition of two numbers with this one. So this you guys have already know that this is a static method. The static method will have the variables and whatever the parameters you pass inside that you can just perform and return. As there is a return type, you have to add the keyword code return. And addition to that, if you want to expose this method to the Aura components or Lightning Web components, you have to define with Aura enabled. This is the annotation you have to use. Aura enabled. So as Aura enabled, then the compiler will know that it has to expose this method to the Lightning component. Okay, so let's open this component. Okay, what I'm trying to do is instead of creating the same, what I'm trying to remove everything. Okay, let it be there. So when you want to call the Apex controller from Lightning component, in the component definition, whatever you are saying, Aura component, everything is there. There, what you need to do, you need to make as controller equals to whatever the Apex class you want to expose, you have to keep this controller here. First point, you need to make controller exposable to the component. Then whatever the attributes you need, let's say Aura, you need to have two values, same value. To type equals to teacher default value equals to 0. Okay, and to add another attribute in the same way, like number 2. So once this is done, we have to define or we have to create a form like lightning put type equals to number, same one I'm using, value equals to So here v dot num1. Okay. So label, which label you have to display? Like label is enter one. Okay. So this is how you have to use num1. Is number 2. Okay. This break again. Have to learn what is a break. Break is nothing but it will give some kind of line. That's it. Okay. So again, I'm giving lightning button label equals to calculate button calculate. Then again label equals to then variant. Okay. On click equals to c dot and perform addition. Okay, so this is common till now. This is common. You guys were but brand label is wrong. Spelling is wrong. Variant label is not required. Okay. So here is the logic you have to do. So when you want to add some value, you have to pass these two values to the controller. Then you have to get the result from the Apex controller. Okay. Here the syntax is very, very, very important. Where okay, action, you can give any name, action or wxyz, whatever you want to give, you can give. Where action equals to component dot get up. So here you need to be very careful. When you say v dot number, okay, when you give it v dot, then it means it is from variable, means it is the attribute value, num1, num2 or something, whatever it is. Okay, 1, num2, whatever it is. Okay, when you say v dot, it is the attribute from the component markup. Okay, and here inside the component markup, when you say that c dot, then it is calling the function from controller, means JavaScript controller. Make sure that you understand that. First thing is when you say v dot, it is calling the, or it is trying to access the attributes from the lightning aura component markup. Okay, when you say c dot from the lightning component markup, then it is calling from the, I mean, this is the function we are trying to call from the JavaScript controller. Okay, and when you say c dot in the component dot get, when you use it, you have to mention the function method from the Apex call Apex method. Okay, how to call where action equals to component dot get c dot add. Okay, and as you need to pass the parameters, two parameters you need to pass, a, b, right? So you have to do action dot set param. Okay? Set params. Here you need to give syntax is same. So don't feel it's a difficult. Syntax will be same. What it is? Action set params. You know that set params is one method, and then inside the function you have flower brackets. Inside the flower brackets, right? Then what is the value? First one is a. Okay. So here it is, A is the first value, B is second value. Same names you have to give. A, B. Same names you have to give. Okay? Make sure you are giving same. 1, comma, B colon. See this? A colon, then B colon. Okay? Num2. Okay? After the last parameter, you should not give any comma or semicolon, whatever it is. Just this is the syntax. Okay? How to call the parameters? I mean, how to call the method from the JavaScript controller? Action equals to component dot get of c dot method name. Then action name dot set parameters. You want to set some values as the parameters are there. If you don't have any parameter, let's say you are not having any parameter, then this step is not required. This is not required. You can ignore it. Okay. After that, action set call back. Okay. This is also syntax. You have to by heart. There is no other way. First one is action component dot get. Then action set params. If you want to set the values for parameters, then you can use action dot set callback. This is for getting the response. See, you are calling here, then you are returning. I mean, this apex controller is returning some value a plus b, right? That you have to read. That will be inside this one action dot callback. This dot response. This is also syntax is same. You do not have any other way. You have to by hand. That's it. Okay. Action set callback. To get callback. This dot function. 1 second. Pause the video.